I had a liver transplant. Before I got it, I was very close to dying. Teen star Shelley Fabares had everything going for her. Her hit song Johnny Angel was so popular that it even beat the Beatles on the charts. She also acted in 3 movies with Elvis Presley. But in 1994, her life changed in an instant. She fell through the floor of her own home and broke every rib on the left side of her body. When doctors examined her, they found out she had a hidden illness that was destroying her liver. Her only hope was a liver transplant. For 22 months, Shelley waited. She didn't know if she was going to live or die. But what happened next changed her life forever. Shelley Fabares was born on January 19, 1944, in Santa Monica, California. Her father was from New Orleans, and her mother would later be diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease in 1988. But the most important person in Shelley's life wasn't her mom or dad. It was her aunt, Nanette Fabares. Nanette was already a famous Broadway and TV star, having won a Tony Award and 3 Emmy Awards. Seeing her aunt succeed helped Shelley believe that a life in show business wasn't just a dream. It was something she could really do. Shelley's mother saw her daughter's potential early on. By the time Shelley was just 3 years old, she was modeling and already appearing in front of cameras. Her older sister Nanette, nicknamed Smokey, also tried modeling, but she didn't stick with it. Shelley, on the other hand, had something unique. She looked younger than she really was, which meant she could play child roles longer than most kids. This gave her more time to work in the spotlight. At age 10, Shelley made her first television appearance in 1954 on a show called Letter to Loretta. That one episode opened many doors for her. Over the next few years, she appeared in shows like Captain Midnight, Annie Oakley, Fury, and Colgate Theatre. One of her biggest early opportunities came on Producer's Showcase, where she acted alongside big stars like Frank Sinatra and Paul Newman, something rare for a young actress. She also appeared in a live version of Wuthering Heights, proving that she could handle serious drama. By 1958, she had a recurring role on Disney's Zorro, appearing in 15 episodes. At that point, Shelley was no longer just another child actor. She was starting to make a name for herself. Shelley also began landing film roles. In 1955, she appeared, uncredited, in The Girl Rush. In 1956, she finally got a credit for her role as Susie Parker in Never Say Goodbye. That same year, she had parts in The Bad Seed and Rock, Pretty Baby, though she wasn't credited. In 1957, she was in Gene Eagles, simply listed as Teenage Girl. Most of her roles were small, and many didn't give her screen credit, but every part helped her learn and grow as an actress. Things changed in a big way in 1958 when Shelley was just 14. She landed the role of Mary Stone on the Donna Reed Show. It was a turning point. She went from playing small roles to becoming a full-time star. The show ran for 191 episodes, and Shelley was in most of them. She quickly became a teen idol and cultural figure. Unlike most young actresses, Shelley was already experienced by the time she joined the show. She had worked with stars, been on national TV, and understood how the industry worked. Her aunt was famous, and Shelley had been working since she was 3. She was young, but she was more prepared than most. Off-screen, Shelley developed a close relationship with Donna Reed. It went beyond acting. They became like family. Shelley said Donna was like a second mother. One day Donna told her, "Why don't you call me Donna instead of Miss Reed?" Shelley was surprised. Raised in Catholic school, she was used to being very respectful. It took her a while to get used to that kind of closeness, but it showed how strong their bond had become. Shelley never planned to be a singer. But in 1961, the network wanted her character on the show to sing. She had no choice but to go along with it. That's how she ended up in a recording studio, nervous and surrounded by professional musicians. Darlene Love and the Blossoms, real backup singers, stood beside her. Behind her were famous players like guitarist Glenn Campbell, drummer Hal Blaine, and bassist Carol Kaye. Shelley later admitted, "I never could sing." The producers knew that too. They added a lot of echo to her voice, especially during the repeated line, "Johnny Angel," to cover up her weaknesses. The song aired on the show in early 1962. No one thought it would go far, not even Shelley. But something amazing happened. On April 7, 1962, Johnny Angel hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It stayed on the charts for 15 weeks. It also reached #1 in Canada and New Zealand and did well in the UK. Over 1 million copies were sold, and the song earned a gold disc. Even though she didn't think she was a good singer, critics said her voice was warm and soft. The echo made it dreamy, and many fans loved its innocence. Some even said it was better than more professional versions because it sounded sweet and real. Her next single, Johnny Loves Me, came out in May 1962. It was written by Barry Mann and Cynthia Weil and told the story of the same girl winning Johnny's heart. It didn't do as well as Johnny Angel, but it still reached #21 on the Billboard charts and #7 on the Adult Contemporary chart. In Canada, it hit #24. Shelley followed it up with The Things We Did Last Summer, which reached #46. All of these songs appeared on her second album, also titled The Things We Did Last Summer. Shelley didn't do many live performances, which was common at the time for TV stars who became singers. Most of her TV singing was lip-synced. Her producers kept the same soft, dreamy sound filled with echo. The songs were made for teenage listeners, and they worked. Even though Shelley's music didn't stay on the charts for a long time, her songs left a strong impression on fans who listened to them back then. She later released full-length albums because she was under contract with Colpix Records. Her first album was simply called Shelley, and by 1963, her music career was in full swing, even though she had never planned to sing in the first place. Shelley Fabares released a third album called Teenage Triangle, but behind the scenes, she was starting to feel worn out. Her schedule was exhausting. These days, most TV shows film about 22 episodes in one season. But back then, the Donna Reed Show filmed 39 episodes every single year, and they did that for 5 years in a row. Shelley worked non-stop from the time she was 14 to 19 years old. To keep up with school, she even had to take classes right on the set. It felt more like working in a factory than living a teenage life. There was no room for fun or freedom. After 5 long seasons, Shelley made a brave choice. She decided to leave the show. The official reason given to the public was that she wanted to go to college. But the truth was more complicated. Shelley had been pushed into singing when she never wanted to be a singer. She was tired, physically and emotionally. Leaving the show wasn't easy. She did return for 7 more episodes in later seasons, but by then, the damage had been done. After she left, Hollywood seemed to forget about her. For the next 4 years, she couldn't find steady work. Still, Shelley didn't give up. She believed that her time would come again, and eventually, it did. In 1965, Shelley was cast in the film Girl Happy. At the time, she had only been married for 17 days to music producer Lou Adler. On set, she was greeted by none other than Elvis Presley. At first, she was nervous to meet such a big star. But the moment they met, that nervousness faded. Shelley said it felt like they had known each other forever. Not in a romantic way, just a natural connection. Elvis already knew her from the Donna Reed Show and was familiar with her hit song Johnny Angel, which had topped the charts in 1962. From the beginning, he made her feel comfortable. Their chemistry on screen was clear, and even the film crew noticed it. Critics later said that Shelley's sweet and innocent personality worked perfectly next to Elvis's charm in Girl Happy. She played Valerie Frank, the daughter of a mob boss from Chicago. In the film, Elvis's character is hired to watch over her during a wild spring break in Florida. The movie was light and fun, but for Shelley and Elvis, it marked the start of a real friendship, one that would continue through 3 movies over 3 years. The next year, they worked together again in Spin Out, which was filmed between February and April of 1966. In this film, Shelley played Cynthia Fox-Hugh, a spoiled rich girl whose father owned a race car company. Elvis played Mike McCoy, a race car driver and bandleader who had not one, but 3 love interests: Shelley, Diane McBain, and Deborah Wally. That could have led to tension between the actresses, But it didn't. They all got along well, and each brought something different to their roles. Interestingly, Carl Betts, who had played Shelley's father on the Donna Reed Show, was cast as her father again in Spin Out. Having him around made things feel more familiar and helped ease any pressure on set. The movie was a big hit with fans. Part of the reason was the chemistry Elvis had with all three women. Shelley held her own next to him, something not every actress could do. Elvis was paid a massive $750,000 for the film, plus 40% of the profits. That showed just how much power his name still carried. Some members of his inner circle, known as the Memphis Mafia, later said that Shelley was the only actress who could match Ann-Margret's energy. That was high praise, because Ann-Margret had always been one of Elvis's favorite co-stars. By the time Clambake began filming in 1967, things had changed. Elvis had gained weight, going from 170 to 200 pounds. He wasn't happy with how his career was going. The movie scripts were getting worse, and the roles were becoming too predictable. A studio executive even told him he had to lose weight. That's when Elvis started taking diet pills, a choice that would affect his health for years to come. During that time, Shelley was more than just a co-star. She was someone Elvis could talk to. They would have long, private conversations in trailers and dressing rooms. One day, he confided in her and told her something very personal. He was planning to marry Priscilla Beaulieu. It was a secret he hadn't shared with many people. After telling Shelley, he walked out and shared the news with the rest of the crew. When Elvis told everyone, "I told her," people were shocked. Many of them didn't even know his plans, but he trusted Shelley enough to share something so personal with her first. Clambake marked a turning point in Elvis's life. He was becoming more and more frustrated with his movie career. In the past, he had been compared to serious actors like James Dean. But instead of dramatic, meaningful roles, he was stuck making light-hearted movies with weak scripts that he didn't enjoy. By then, Shelley wasn't just another actress working with him. She had become someone who understood the real Elvis. She could see the cracks behind his famous smile. Their relationship, though close, remained completely platonic. That wasn't always the case with Elvis and his co-stars. His manager, Colonel Tom Parker, often encouraged fake romances between Elvis and his female co-stars to help sell tickets. This worked well with Ann-Margret during Viva Las Vegas and helped make her even more popular. But Shelley and Elvis didn't play along with those publicity stunts. Shelley later said their friendship was honest and real. Elvis didn't have to act or flirt when he was with her. There was no need to create headlines or fake chemistry. Maybe that's exactly why he felt safe confiding in her. Years later, Shelley looked back at that time with both fondness and sadness. She cared deeply about Elvis and was heartbroken over what happened to him. "I just ache for what happened with him," she once said. She knew he had made some poor choices in his life, but she also understood why. He had gone from being a regular teenage boy in Tupelo, Mississippi, to becoming the biggest music star in the world almost overnight. She remembered one particular moment in the cafeteria at MGM Studios. Elvis peeked through the door, and as soon as people saw him, the whole room rushed toward him. Shelley asked him, "What was it like to be that boy and have that happen 100 times over?" It was a question with no easy answer. The pressure, the loneliness, the fame, it all took a toll on him. Shelley knew deep down that Elvis never really had a chance to just be himself. Shelley had been in show business since the age of 3, but by the late 1960s, everything in her career suddenly stopped. She once said, "I went to bed on Tuesday, having worked since I was 3, and got up Wednesday morning and didn't work for 4 years. It wasn't just a quiet spell. It was a full-blown career crisis. Her sweet, innocent image, once loved by audiences, no longer matched the mood of the times. In the late 60s, pop culture was changing. The Vietnam War, political movements, and rebellion were all shaping people's tastes. Viewers were looking for deeper, more serious stories, and Shelley's wholesome image didn't fit in anymore. She later admitted that she hadn't taken enough chances. She was afraid to take risks or step outside her comfort zone. "I should have been more aggressive," she said. That fear likely cost her some big roles. But slowly, Shelley began to work again. Her comeback started with a guest role on a show called Mannix. It wasn't a huge part, but it was a step in the right direction. After that, she appeared in other shows like The Ghost and Mrs. Muir, Daniel Boone, and Medical Center. Each role helped her rebuild a career that had almost slipped away. In 1968, during this period of struggle, Shelley landed a lead role in a movie called A Time to Sing with Hank Williams Jr. The movie was supposed to help both of their careers, but it didn't turn out well. Shelley played Amy Carter, and Hank played Grady Dodd, a young man who wanted to be a singer even though his uncle disapproved. The story didn't make much sense, and critics didn't like it. The film only got a 5.4 out of 10 on IMDb. One reviewer said the plot was so weak that all the characters seemed to make decisions that didn't add up. The movie was produced by Sam Katzman, who had made a lot of successful teen films before, but this one flopped. It failed to impress both critics and the public. During those years, Shelley took any role she could find. She guest-starred on shows like Lancer, Bracken's World, and The Interns. After Mannix, she kept working on shows including Longstreet, McCloud, Owen Marshall, Cades County, and Love, American Style. But no matter how many different roles she played, most people in Hollywood still saw her as Mary Stone, the sweet teenager from the Donna Reed Show. That image stuck with her and made it hard to break into more serious or grown-up roles. One of her standout performances came in 1974 on The Rockford Files. She played Jolene Hyland, the wife of a man who had embezzled over $4 million. Her character hired private investigator Jim Rockford to help track down $750,000 worth of rare stamps that her husband had secretly bought. This was one of Shelley's more mature roles. Her character wasn't just the nice girl. She was smart, determined, and full of layers. It proved that Shelley could handle complex parts. Still, the industry continued to box her in. By the early 1980s, Shelley's acting career was still going, but her personal life was changing behind the scenes. She never declared bankruptcy, but there were signs that she was facing financial stress in 1983. In 1982, Shelley Fabares attended a CBS convention that seemed ordinary at first, but it ended up changing her life. She had recently gone through a painful divorce from record producer Lou Adler, and wasn't looking for anything new. Mike Farrell, best known for his role on MASH*, was also there, newly divorced from actress Judy Farrell.